Right, morning Paul. This little video is for yourself. Thank you for buying your exchange gearbox. I stripped your gearbox down this morning and you wouldn't be at all surprised to know that there was some faults with it. I don't know who rebuilt this gearbox for you, Paul, whether you did it yourself or whether you got somebody else to do it, but they didn't make a very good job of it, and most of the parts that I've got on view now are really scrap parts anyway, but these came out of your gearbox. First of all, I'll show you the fourth gear. You can see that's obviously been pressed on when they've pressed the bearing and the input shaft onto the main shaft. It's obviously been caught up on one of the synchro rings, and that would never have worked. That would never have slowed down. That would have been terrible. So that's the first fault. As you can see, that's scrap, no use whatsoever. Then we come to third gear. You'll see third gear, you can see yourself the damage on the teeth. They're normally pyramid shaped, you know, a church steeple shape. They're well worn. Look, see how the teeth have worn down, really bad. So that was no good. I would never have used that gearbox in a rebuild. That's third gear. And third and fourth gears, they usually don't have any signs of any damage at all. They're usually reusable. This one, however, that's scrap. Second gear, you can see. You only got to look there. You can see it's scrap. That gear should never have been put in the box. Whoever's rebuilt this box, if it's been rebuilt, they maybe put new bearings in it. I don't think they put new synchro rings in it anyway, but that's scrap. That's no use whatsoever. You can see there, it's no good. That gear's no good. First gear, you can see there, that's had some hammer. First gear. Coincidentally, the reverse idler was good. That is good. So if somebody's rebuilt this gearbox using these bits, it's been a complete and utter waste of time because they were scrap. There's no wonder the gearbox was noisy. More importantly though, Paul, you wondered about the tail shaft. I can confirm that the tail shaft is cracked. You knew that already, and thanks for being honest about it. It's well cracked, and I can tell you what's caused that now. You didn't know what's caused it because you said there was no slap on the prop shaft. Well, I can assure you it wasn't caused by the prop shaft. What it was caused by was this little spacer here, and where this little spacer goes, this little spacer, it sits in the end of the tail shaft. Once you've mounted the tail shaft, you fit the spacer and then you fit the bearing over the top. Now, I think somebody's put this onto the main shaft and then tried to force the tail shaft over it, and they've hammered it and hammered it and hammered it, and when they've been hammering it down the main shaft, I think it's cracked. I think it's cracked the thing. But anyway, that was broken. That would have been going round near the bearing. That would have caused a lot of stress, a lot of vibration, and maybe that was the cause. Who knows? We're only assuming that that's what's caused it. But anyway, that's the first one of those I've ever come across that's broken, and that's usually because they've put it in before they've put the tail shaft on and tried to hammer it down the housing, and it won't go down the housing. It will go down the housing, but it's really difficult, and they've probably broke that tail shaft while doing that particular job. The other thing that was broken was the retainer on the gear set. There's I'll show you a good one. Just bear with me one moment. Find a good one for you. Got one on this gearbox here somewhere, and I can find it. Let me just pause the video. Right, Paul, that's a good spacer, as you can see. That's the chunk that was lying. I think that was trapped up against the bearing. But that's that spacer there, broken. Yep, and there's a good retaining clip. So that was broken. That would have been mangled up going around somewhere, the other half of that. So there you go. I don't know who did the gearbox for you, but I would be asking for my money back on that one. So there you go, Paul. I hope that's been a help. Thanks for buying a gearbox off me, yeah, that was your main cause of your problems. This gearbox, apart from the cluster gear, delay gear, this gearbox was scrap, but I did take that chance when you told me it was making noise. So there you go.